And this takes a little bit of practice. Some of these strokes and everything, you don't have to completely annihilate them. You can just paint around those little shapes that you just put in and just leave it like that. And some of the brown I can put here because that's what, some brushes do. They have like residue on it, and sometimes it hits areas. All right, welcome back. We're going to continue this painting of a photo reference. And right now we are in the final stages of this work, and what we're going to do is stylize it. So we did the background. We actually have the background on one layer, on its own layer, and we use that to paint some of the shadows. And so now we're going to actually create a new layer above our refined line layer. So we're going to do that, and we'll just call this Stylize. And mixer brush tool. And what we're going to do is make this look more painterly. So if you want a style that's more painterly, this is how you do it. So what I do is make sure that up here there should be a sample all layers. So when we're about to mix and make some strokes in this, we need to select. We're going to do a lot of selecting, and we can also zoom in and we can go over some of these lines. And I'm going to make this brush a little bit smaller. What you can do is continue selecting colors that are around. And I'm not trying to completely get rid of the lines. I'm just making some little changes to the lines on the end. And as you can see, the paintbrush behaves. And you got to get used to how it mixes colors, and you can customize that as well. At the top you can do the wetness and the load of paint coming out and how much you want it to mix. So I'm making some little changes. And it looks like, some areas are, like they're like you mess up or something like that. There's no such thing as like a mess up when you're doing something like this, because in real painting, there's a lot of what looks like mistakes, but they're not. They are just showing the nature of the paintbrush, a natural paintbrush. So when you see some of the lines, they're not there, or they're mixed in, that's okay. And what I sometimes do is actually have some paint marks outside and around, just so it's not, because we're not trying to make it look like a perfect painting where there's no imperfections or anything like that. When you're doing something like this, you welcome the imperfections, and that's what makes the painting interesting and and just really nice to the eye, and the style. It just really makes it look authentic. So you got that, and sometimes I do this. And I mix some of the color around. I could put some of the gray color inside this on the subject. And that kind of creates a really nice harmony. I can use some of that gray for the lighter areas. And you see how cool this looks. Now you could add, some colors if you want to. And what I do if I want to add some colors to it, other colors that are not in the photo, go to New Layer, and I'm going to choose the regular brush. Let's see, it's going to be not too soft and not too hard. I put it at maybe 32% and make the brush a little bit smaller. And what I can do is pick a real saturated color. Let's say maybe a green, because there's some green that you can see in here. We can choose some green, and I want it to fit the theme and the tone of the painting, so not too saturated, just maybe a sort of a mid-tone like that. And I might want to turn up my opacity and just put a little right there, right here. What I can do is, there's a little bit of blue, put some blue right there, and maybe over here. And you don't want to overdo it, but now we can go to our brush, our mixer brush tool, and we can just kind of mix this in. I can select the color and select the dark color, and you can see it's just kind of mixed in there. And I'm mixing it with the yellow and the colors around it. And this takes a little bit of practice. Some of these strokes and everything, you don't have to completely annihilate them. You can just paint around those little shapes that you just put in and just leave it like that. And some of the brown I can put here, because that's what, some brushes do. They have like residue on it, and sometimes it hits areas of the painting where it wasn't supposed to be yellow. It wasn't supposed to be, the blue wasn't supposed to be on the yellow, but it ended up there. And so we just left it. So that's how you do it. And look at this. This just looks really nice. And I'm putting some of the blue on some of the background. And if you just leave it like that, that is what, we're trying to achieve here. It's a very painterly look. Now, join me in my next videos. We're going to do some more reference photos. Some are going to be subjects like people, and more objects and more cloths and drapery and all of that. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Make sure to comment, if you like the video and if you have any suggestions or whatever. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.